As I'm sure you've guessed by now, today we're going to be sketching a theme for the night. I love the look of this piece. It's so classic. It's got this very interesting way of moving in an L shape, and it can leap over pieces and attack squares in a way that no other piece can. There's a maneuver in chess called rerouting your knight, where the knight takes a little journey to access squares that it couldn't normally attack. And I like this idea of it's kind of like the cavalry coming in to save the day. So I've called this the Knight Ride to Glory. So I'm going to go ahead and write the beginning of the piece, the A section, and then we'll come back and take a look at what techniques and ideas I use to achieve the piece. Okay, I feel like I've got a really good start to our piano sketch for the Knight Ride to Glory, and you'll notice that I've written it in a time signature of 5/8. And I've broken that 5/8 up into a group of 3 and a group of 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like that kind of meter gives it this forward momentum, almost like a gallop, almost like our knight is riding their trusty steed into battle. So let's take a listen to what I have so far, and then we'll talk about it. I'm really happy with how this piano sketch is turning out. I think it's capturing that idea of this ride to glory and this forward momentum that we talked about. As I was working on it, I realized that I want the brass to take center stage here. So even though I will orchestrate it using the same full orchestra that we use for the other chess pieces, I'm really going to let brass take center stage throughout the piece. And to take advantage of that, I've got some figures in here, these very quick triplet figures, these 16th note triplets. Now there are 3 ways that a brass player can attack a note. One is to single tongue it, ta, and as their tongue moves forward, that's the attack of the note. Another way is double tonguing, where their tongue attacks on the forward motion, ta, and then on the backward motion, ka. So they can very quickly go taka 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 and play notes very quickly. Another way that they can play notes is called triple tonguing, where it's 2 attacks forward and 1 attack backward. So it's ta-taka, and that's what they'll use here. So I wanted to take advantage of that. It's a very exciting sound, and I think it fits this really well. Let's take a listen to this portion of the melody, and imagine our brass players playing these quick triple tongue figures. Now let's take a look at what's happening harmonically, and I'm going to get up our piano roll just so we can have a better look at this. If we consider these first 5 bars in the pitch collection here, we can see that we have notes outlining F Aeolian, or F minor. So we've got an F, a G, an A flat, a B flat, a C, a D flat, and an E flat. So that says F Aeolian, especially if we look in the bass and we see these Fs in the bass and we see an F minor triad here in the beginning. It's a pretty good indication that this is an F minor. If we continue on into measure 6, we can see that our E flat has become an E natural and our D flat has become a D natural. And this would indicate an F melodic minor. So F, G, A flat, B flat, C, now D natural and E natural. So that says F melodic minor. If we move farther down, we can see these F sharps, which don't fit in either F Aeolian or F melodic minor. And we might start to notice some very strange chords here, like this A major chord and this G major chord over F, which also don't fit into either of those scales. So where do these sounds come from? Well, let's look again at this long string of low Fs. All of the melody that we just talked about in these unusual chords here, they're all being played over this F. and I'm considering that low F to be what's called a pedal point. That terminology comes from organ players who have foot pedals that can depress a pedal, a low F, let's say, and then play chords over the top of it, thus a pedal point. So you've probably heard that sound where there's an F being played, and if we play some diatonic chords from F Aeolian, we could play the F minor over it, we could play the A flat major over it, we could play the E flat major over it. Any diatonic chord can work. And it helps to color that sound and pull all of them together. It's a really nice technique to use. Now you can also use that same technique with chords that aren't diatonic. And I've found pretty much any major or minor triad will work as long as it fits the piece you're writing. So, let's say we've got our F minor triad, but now we play an A major triad over F, right? Or how about an E major triad? Or how about a C major triad? Or how about the G major triad? So you can try all of these different things. F sharp minor over it. It's E flat minor over it. You've got all of these nice sounds and they're being pulled together with this F on the bottom. So you can do things like and it feels like it all goes together. So there's lots of interesting sounds that you can get with this pedal. Let's listen again to these first 10 bars and see how this pedal pulls together these harmonies and also how the strength of the melody helps hold everything together. Okay, I think the piece is off to a great start, and you can see how this pedal point opened up this very unique and modern sound. And of course, in the example I played, I was just playing root position, major and minor triads over that pedal point. But you could use inversions, or you could try different chord types with more extensions, more complex chords. It really just opens up this whole new world of possibilities. Okay, I'm going to finish off the piece, and we will come back and take a look at it. I've finished composing the sketch for the piece, The Night, A Ride to Glory. And as you can see, I've orchestrated it into the brass section just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking for the brass, since it's such a brass-centric piece. I will orchestrate this next time into the full orchestra, but for now, this will give us a good idea with these Note Performer 4 sounds playing through Dorico. I've added an introduction and the end section, so let's take a listen. Hearing this with the brass just adds so much excitement to the piece, those quick triple tonguing figures, and then we've got this double forte here that they build up to over a long crescendo. It just adds so much power to the piece to hear it with the brass, even at this state. We've got a pedal point again here at the end, and I want to look at that. It adds this anticipatory feel, a building feel, and pedal points are often used in that manner. So let's look at the harmonic structure over this pedal point, building to our ending. I'm going to add the chord symbols of the triads that the trombones and French horns are playing over our C pedal, and let's also open up our piano roll. Okay, let's start by looking at the melody. We can see that we have this little phrase that moves down a half step and back up, and it sounds like this. If we go to the next phrase, we have the exact same thing, just transposed up a minor third. And if we look at the next phrase, same thing, transposed up a minor third. And one more time here, up a minor third. So that's a very strong pattern, and as this builds, our ear expects to hear these notes. Now let's look at the chords. There's a pattern in the chords also. So if we consider this first chord, this C minor, to be the one chord, and then we move to this next chord, the G, that would be the 5 of the C minor, and then back to the C minor. We have the same thing happening here, where we start off with our E flat minor, then we move to its 5, the B flat, and then back to the E flat minor. Same thing here with this F sharp minor. We have the F sharp minor, moving to its 5, the C sharp, and then back to the F sharp minor. And then finally this A minor, moving to its 5, the E, and then back to the A minor. So that's the second very strong pattern here that our ear is becoming accustomed to and expecting before we finally pay this off with the final F minor chord. And all of this is being played over our C pedal, the 5th of the F minor. It's very common to use a tonic pedal point or a dominant pedal point, as we've done in this piece. And you can hear how this C dominant pedal point has a very strong gravitational pull back to our one chord, back to that F minor at the end of the piece. So all of these things come together to make this final 8-bar buildup work. We have our patterns in the melody, which rise by a minor third. We have our patterns in the chords. We have this relentless dominant C pedal coloring all of these chords, and we get away with some very dissonant things, like this F sharp minor over the C. It's a very dissonant sound, but because it's part of this pattern that we've set up, our ear accepts it. Let's just listen to that 8-bar buildup one more time. Pedal points are a powerful technique. In this piece, we've used them in the low range, but you could also use them in the high range, say high strings, and have things play below them, or in the mid range with a different orchestration. There's a lot of experimentation you can do. I'm going to play this sketch that we've moved into brass, and next time when we come back, I'll orchestrate it for full orchestra with our woodwinds and strings, and I'm sure there'll be some percussion to be added to this piece. So let's listen to The Night, A Ride to Glory, and I'll see everyone next time.